Hey, we're back. We're live. I'm excited to be here. If you're watching this in the future, I had a break. It was longer than necessary, and there were some reasons behind it. So I wanted to go through those in more detail. I did a quick little 3-minute live video just to say I was coming back, but I didn't really dive too deep into why. And I wanted to cover a few things that I could have been doing better in my business. And I wanted to turn this into more of a behind the scenes sort of build it as I go type of vlog live thing. So here's here's a little bit more context as to why and what happened really. So it was really nice that I had 3 people reach out to say, I missed the live show. Where did it go? I didn't know anybody was watching these. The analytics aren't great. And I've said a million times, I'm not really into the vanity metrics or engagement metrics so much. And that has proven to be the right way to think about it because there's no correlation between views on YouTube and impact to the business. And not from a direct attribution standpoint anyway. There's definitely a quality metric in there somewhere. But the real reason that I brought this back is my how-to videos went on for a couple more months after I stopped the live show, but they also fell off. And there's a correlation there. Muscles that don't get used atrophy, right? So I don't think it's a coincidence. And the impact that being on YouTube last year, even though look at my follower account, go to my page, it's nothing. It's like 125 people I'm super grateful for. But when I stopped, it was like 90 people or something like that. And it continued to grow. And that was pretty cool to see. And I know grow. I'm not, Casey Neistat here, but my business grew. And that was part of the challenge that I was facing in that we had like 20 customers this year, 20 clients. It's been insane, almost a client a week. I've never seen anything like it in my business. Certainly not I don't know very many small agencies that could even take that on. We took it on, we've crushed it, and for the most part. And I think that there's a connection between having this routine, having this content be consistent, and seeing growth in the business. And honestly, the live show wasn't the extra thing I thought it was. I was wrong. It was actually the thing holding it all together. And I'm pretty excited to have this back on my schedule. I'm excited for the impact it's going to have on the business. I'm excited for the impacts it's going to have on my growth. One of my goals here, sneaky, I used to use an app called Ecamm Live. Phenomenal, fantastic app. But I want a new challenge. So YouTube has done a really good job of expanding the tool set for recording, editing, and publishing videos using studio.youtube.com. And I want to get to know that tool set a little bit better so I know how to advise people through it. I know how to better produce for myself with it. And I thought that running this live show through that interface was probably the best way to learn it. So I'm pretty excited to learn more about the tool. I've already done a better job based on the 2 days removed since my last video. So that's sort of like how I wanted to set the stage here. Here's a sneaky thing about me. I read a really great book called Buy Back Your Time by Dan. What's your name, Dan? Dan Morin? Crap. I have the book. Hang on a sec. Buy Back Your Time, Dan Martell. And here's the thing. The time blocking strategy in there really resonated with me tremendously. And I'm very good at time blocking. I have people who've seen, and I've shared my time blocking here. You can go back in my older videos and see I've shared my blocks. And the blocks have changed. I kind of revisit those every couple of months when I realize that adjustments need to be made. Like, for example, it's the middle of July and summer break in schools. So my schedule's changed dramatically during the summer. My time blocking needs to change. I'll probably, when we're back in school, go back to an earlier version that I had been using this past spring for time blocking because of life. And that's actually exactly the way it's supposed to work. I'm also pretty good at ignoring my time blocks, it turns out. Who knew? So the blocking and building that and having that intent wasn't the problem. And now the goal isn't to be like super rigid about it. Life happens, work happens, and all of that is exactly as it should be. But I think that having public recurring things makes myself feel a sense of accountability, struggling to say that, in a way that I am passionate about upholding, as opposed to group accountability calls, which are sort of half as effective, and then a counter item, which in of itself is probably not terribly effective, apparently. So that's kind of how I'm stacking those. Uh, there's definitely connectivity in that regard. So the next thing I wanted to touch on was sort of what I want to talk about here. And I mentioned behind the scenes stuff. I was doing that initially. It was more like a news program style when I first launched the live show. And then it sort of became more of sharing experience and guidance and running through a bunch of things that I have deep experience with, because I've been doing what I do for 30 years now. I started out as a web designer in 1996. This past May was my 30-year anniversary in sitting in a chair like this and moving pixels around and showing them who's boss. And here's the thing. I've built up teams. I have unfortunately had to dismantle teams. I have been in several leadership roles where I have had challenges specific to the industry, to the business, and to the technology that we use. And there's a lot there that can be shared. And I have tried to share that on this live show a lot of times for very specific reasons, so that it's as applicable to people as possible. But, I kind of ran out of stories, if I'm being completely candid about it. And I don't know that I care about sharing those stories anymore. I'd rather they come out and provide value through more of an example of the things I'm doing today. And I think there's a fine line in fixing, in sharing to-do items and sharing private information and client information and sensitive business information that I want to be cautious about. And this kind of frequency weekly is actually a lot of programming, and there's a lot of opportunity for errors to happen with that. So I think it's going to be hard to share behind the scenes and how to, and course correct, and just be honest, like be my own ombudsman here, where I say these things didn't happen very well in the business. I don't know a business where everything always goes well. So we might not be sharing enough of this on YouTube anyway. So I think that's what I wanted to share with regards to sort of the style of content, a little less advisey and more, this is what I'm facing and this is how I solved it, I hope. And here are three separate failures. I'm going to count them off. 1, 2, 3 separate failures in my business, things that I absolutely should have been doing better. I have had a complete failure, drop off of my email newsletter to my community. People signed up for it. I have clients who probably like seeing it. I have friends and family who want to follow my journey and root me on. And I haven't sent that thing in like a year. It's absolutely insane to say that out loud. Like, holy cow, time got away from me. And I've told people that it's one of the most important communications I have in the business. And I believe that to be true. So what happened? How can both of those things be true? Well, you take on 20 or so clients and yeah, you get really busy, and fulfilling and making clients feel a sense of delight and joy in the interactions is priority one. And having the newsletter is probably priority two. So I did it right, but that doesn't mean there wasn't room for both. And that's one of the things I want to fix going forward. One of the challenges is kind of like what happened with this YouTube video. Maybe there's a pattern there. Didn't have a content strategy. It wasn't line them up and knock them down. It was think of something to write this week, this month. And that, I've learned, is a recipe for disaster. That makes it a big lift. That is what makes it impossible to be consistent. And that has been fixed. I've said that a lot. We now have the starts of a content calendar that's going to list out all of the content for the remainder of the year and for the months ahead in a way that makes it so it's more of a line it up and knock it down type of scenario. I've also mapped out the content strategy, like sort of like a template outline for every single one of them so that it's consistent. We're writing the same thing for the same reason in the same order, and that the consistency when you're reading the newsletter should become a pattern that, the reader's mind will recognize. And I think all of those are good things. And my hope is to get one out here in the next week, and we'll see. It might take 10 days. But once the first one drops, I'm gonna have a little celebration. I'm gonna have a little party over here with myself. I'll have some water and I'll say, we did it. Pat myself on the back, pat the team on the back, the whole shebang. So the second thing that has fallen off, or I could have been doing a better job of in the business is, and this might be too inside baseball, I don't enjoy keeping the books. Just being straight with you. I don't enjoy keeping the books. I will put it off for a week, and then I have like 20, 30 transactions to reconcile. Because here's the thing. Stripe, Squarespace, they're going to make the deposit into the bank, but they're not going to include the fees. The fees come out and they just tell you what the deposit was. You have to go and recreate a new transaction to split transaction in QuickBooks and say, oh, here's my fee. And I know there are ways of automating that. I've tried that with QuickBooks. It does a terrible job of automating that. It was so bad. So that has to be done manually. And I have a calendar item to do that every single Monday morning. It is called the CFO Power Hour. And I'm not terribly consistent with hitting it. Sometimes Monday morning, something's on fire, or I feel a sense of urgency to get in front of something or get something done to get the week started off right. So maybe that time block just isn't in the right place. But I will go weeks without reconciling the books, which makes doing so an even bigger lift when I do sit down to do it, because it needs to be done before payroll things, before taxes things, before collaboration with the accountant. It's just not something I do. The third thing that has fallen off in the business is that, and this pains me to say, I feel like the project management system isn't being used to its full potential. What's up, H? Oh my gosh, Henry, I love you, man. Appreciate you. Hey, I use Trello, and I know when I said, I knew the moment I say that, people say, oh, well, you use Trello. Well, I use my tool. Yes and no. I hear you. There are more modern tools. A lot of people really love Notion, or they build something custom with Claude code. Sure. It's not the system. It's the process. It's internal. Every system will fail if it's not being used. And I think that is the issue that's going on there. I feel like Trello is not failing me. I'm failing it. And it can only support the business insofar as it's being used. So I've got to figure out why I'm not, it's already not, what I said already. It's not muscle memory to go and put tasks and to dos in there. I have to make a thing of it. And I'm pretty good at that. I do it daily, but daily is still not enough. A lot of tasks come flying through, in and out, this way and that. And I'll be honest with you, some of them I just bang out before I put it in because I feel like it's not big enough to share in there. But the problem is it makes me a bad team player. And that doesn't give everyone else that's contributing to the project a full story. And in that, I'm failing them and I'm failing the app. So it's not a Trello issue. I could be doing the exact same behaviors with Notion or any other application. So I really want to focus in the next couple of months on a way of making that function better. And the lazy way out, I guess, is I'm kind of holding out hope that macOS 27 allows for better shortcuts and more automation in that regard, because right now it's just easier to collaborate with reminders and Apple Notes and any other application that is local to the system, especially when you're context switching, kind of device switching, because you're on the go, you're at the grocery in the mobile and you get a client email and you're like, oh yeah, this has got to be done. And you can forward the email, but that still has to be sorted and reconciled inside of the system, as opposed to making an actual to do inside of an actual program. So I'm hoping for more, I guess the word is synergy between the applications in the coming months. But like I said, that might also be the lazy way out, because if the problem is me, and I promise you, my business, like your business, I'm the bottleneck. I'm the problem. Anytime there's an issue with the business, the issue, my friend, is in the mirror. And I think I'm looking in a mirror in like at a carnival. It's all wavy, curvy. It makes me look all funny when I say that. So there you have it. A terrible analogy to wrap this up. Look, I'm going to be here every Friday. And I can appreciate that it's late in the evening if you're in the UK, like Henry down here, or if you're on the West Coast, this is really early in the morning, and consider this a coffee chat or something. So thank you for watching. I'm so excited to be back at this. I'll have a cool topic next week, probably more specifics behind the scenes of a couple of the things. Only 4 p.m., not too bad. Awesome, Henry. Oh, amazing. I want to have a side chat with you actually somewhere. Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Henry. And I appreciate all y'all. I will see you next Friday. Peace. Where's this? Oh, end.